When you hear a show tune from the great white way, does a shiver run through ya? Well, we're giving them to ya. Sing hallelujah and shout hooray. Come on along and listen to Broadway to Main Street. USA.
I'm tired of moon songs, of star and of June songs. They simply make me nap. And ditties romantic drive me nearly frantic. I think they're all full of pap. History's making, nations are quaking. Why sing of stars above? For while we are waiting, Father Time's creating new things to be singing of. Sing me a song with social significance. All other tunes are taboo. I want a ditty with heat in it, appealing with feeling and meat in it. Sing me a song with social significance, or you can sing till you're blue. Let meaning shine from every line, or I won't love you. Sing me of wars and sing me of breadlines. Tell me of front page news. Sing me of strikes and last minute headlines. Dress your observation in syncopation. Sing me a song with social significance. There's nothing else that will do. It must get hot with what is what, or I won't love you. I want a song that's satirical, putting the mere into miracle. It must be packed with social fact, or I won't love you. Sing me of kings and conferences martial. Tell me of mills and mines. Sing me of courts that aren't impartial. What's to be done with them? Tell me in rhythm. Sing me a song with social significance. There's nothing else that will do. It must be tense with common sense, or I won't love you.
Well, what would the history of the Broadway musical be without songs of social significance? Many of them, in fact. Hello, this is your host, Larry Maslon, here on Broadway to Main Street on 88.3 WLIW-FM, Long Island's only signature, one-of-a-kind, individual NPR station. Well, that song was from Pins and Needles, the great progressive 1930s revue, which ran for many, many hundreds of performances. It was in a small house, but still, and it very much set the tone for an era during the Great Depression where musicals were not just fluffy entertainment pieces, but shows that spoke to the nature of America and the economy and all sorts of progressive and compelling politics. So that's what we're going to look at today, an overview called Broadway on the March. Songs with social significance. And of course, if we go back even before World War I, there were songs such as Over There by George M. Cohan, which wasn't really in a musical, but many songs written by Tin Pan Alley writers to suggest their commitment to patriotism and victory in World War I. Here's one of my favorites, Goodbye Broadway, Hello France.
Goodbye Goodbye, New York town, goodbye, Miss Liberty. Your light of freedom will guide us across the sea.
Every soldier's sweetheart bidding goodbye. Every soldier's mother drying her eye.
Cheer up, we'll soon be there, singing this Yankee air.
Goodbye, Broadway, hello, friends. We're 10 million strong. Goodbye, sweethearts, wives, and mothers. It won't take us long. Don't you worry while we're there. It's for you we're fighting too. So goodbye, Broadway, hello, friends. We're gonna square our debt. We're gonna square our debt. We're gonna square our debt to you.
Well, the 1920s had very little political content in its reviews and musicals, except some sort of spoofy things about prohibition for the most part. But obviously in 1929 and after 1929 with the Great Depression, Broadway had to absorb all sorts of ideas and politics because that's what was going around. I mean, you couldn't walk to the theater district without passing a breadline in the 1930s. And Georges Kaufman, Maury Riskin, and George and Ira Gershwin, part of the Ira and Leonore Gershwin Philanthropic Fund, who support our show every week, decided to take on not one, not two, but three political musicals, starting with Strike Up the Band in 1927, and then Of Thee I Sing in 1931, and a sequel to that show in 1933, which is easily the most political of all their shows, Let 'Em Eat Cake. So let us go to Union Square, where there are demonstrators and picketers and soapboxes, and a soapbox upon which climbs our good friend David Garrison to tell us that he wants to take down everything that's up.
Conditions as they are cannot go very far. The world must move and I am here to move it. The brotherhood of man is crying for a plan. So here's my plan, I know you can't improve it.
Conditions as they are cannot go very far. So listen to this plan for man.
Down with one and one make two. Down with everything in view. Down with all majorities. Likewise all minorities. Down with you and you and you.
Down with one and two make three. Down with all of us as he.
Somehow I abominate everything you nominate.
Everything from ABC to XYZ.
That's the torch we're going to get the flame from. If you don't like it, why don't you go back where you came from?
If you don't like it, why don't you go back where you came from? If you don't like it, why don't you go back where you came from?
Let's tear down the House of Morgan.
House of Morgan.
Let's burn up the Roxy organ.
Roxy organ.
Down with Curry and McCooey.
And McCooey.
Down with chow mein and chop suey.
And chop suey.
Down with music my Stravinsky. Down with shows except by Minsky. Happiness will fill our cup when it's down with everything that's up. When it's down with everything that's up. Down with books by Dostoevsky. Down with Boris Tomaszewski. Down with Balzac, down with Zola. Down with pianists who play Nola. Down with all the upper classes. Might as well include the masses. Happiness will fill our cup when it's down with everything that's up. When it's down with everything that's up. So down with this and down with that and down with everything in view. The hell with this, the hell with that, the hell with you and you and you. The hell with who? The hell with you. The hell with you. The hell with you and you and you and you. Good morning, Officer Gilhooly.
Our hearts are in communion when we gather down on Union Square. I know when whispers are the shaven, one can always find a haven there. I hope though some may prefer the charming chorus, though some sing the dainty songs of praise, 'tis here we discover all the topics that cure all the problems of the race. Boxes they put soap in, how we love it in the open air. I hope we'll make up little stories, but we're full of economics down on Union Square. Down here on Union
Square. It's not cricket to pick it, not cricket. Oh no, it's just not comme il faut to pick it. You haven't any right to know you're acting in great haste. Just think of the predicament in which your boss is placed. And entre nous, I think it's in exceedingly bad taste. Not cricket to pick it, not cricket. It's not cricket to pick it, not cricket. Atrocious and gauche, you know, to pick it. Go home and starve like gentlemen, not like a noisy brood. Real ladies never make a fuss, though they lack clothes and food. And money's never talked about, for that would be quite rude. Not cricket to pick it, not cricket. It's not picket to cricket, not picket. Uncultured and unmannerly to picket. You know you're misbehaving now, you mustn't lose your mind. You're being so inelegant and frankly quite unkind. Excuse my indiscretion, but you're all done refined. Not picket to cricket, not picket. It ain't ticket to stick it, not picket. Now, officer, give each man there a cricket. Oh, dear, where is your decency? No Vanderbilts or Astors would ask in such a vulgar way, befitting only dastards. I beg you, get the hell away, you lousy bunch of... What do you mean, disturbing the peace? Come with you, officer, you're bruising my bank. Get your hands off, kid. You don't seem to know who I am or whom I know. Listen, I'm an intimate friend of Jimmy Ward. You won't get me in that black wagon.
Barbra Streisand, of course, an early recording of hers from the, 63, perhaps, of Harold Rome's score to Pins and Needles, which he did as a favor to Mr. Rome because he had written the score to I Can Get It For You Wholesale, her Broadway debut. One of the things that's important about progressive politics in on Broadway, certainly were ideas about race relations and sort of comes and goes. It's sort of heavy in the 20s and 30s and then almost completely non-existent in the 40s and 50s. But here is Oscar Hammerstein, a major progressive soul, and Richard Rodgers with a song from South Pacific sung by Sammy Davis Jr.
You've got to be taught to hate and fear. You've got to be taught from year to year. Why, it's got to be drummed in your dear little ear. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be taught to be afraid of people whose eyes are oddly made, and people whose skin is a different shade. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be taught before it's too late, before you are 6 or 7 or 8, to hate all the people your relatives hate. Why, you've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be carefully taught.
Colorful copy, Mr. Drake? Why, sir, you don't know how colorful I done been. When I was very young, brand new upon the scene, had no experience. That's right, I was green. Then I grew up a bit, found out a thing or two. Sometimes I'd get unhappy. In short, I was blue. As far as politics goes, I never turn red. I'm smarter than you might think. And every time I've been told, boy, you're good as gold, say I'm just tickled pink. I've tried all sorts of shades, put them to the test, but I look at myself and black suits me best. Black is chic, always correct for the house or yard. Black is neat, it goes with everything and doesn't try too hard. Black is basic, you'll agree. As the Duchess of Windsor would say, black is me. Well, I've been yellow at times, I'm sorry to say. Yes, I've been afraid to fight. Drake, I've been scared as can be. But take it from me, Daddy, I ain't never turned white.
So when I'm old and gray and I'm heading
for my last rest, guess I'll still have to say that black, not Kelly green, but black, not tangerine, but black. That's B-L-A-C-K, dig, black. Suits me. And that's it.
Sammy Davis Jr., 15 years after South Pacific. That was from the show Golden Boy during the height of the Civil Rights Movement, 1964. One of the only shows, if perhaps the only show, during most of the 1960s to deal with the Civil Rights Movement on Broadway. A very colorful performance from Golden Boy with a Strauss and Adams score. Well, New York City being the center of many different ethnic enclaves and many workers, and hence the labor movement, tackled, pickets and union members and fighting for rights pretty much since the 1930s on. Here is a rather jolly version of that struggle from Fiorello in 1959, but set in a little before World War I. But at any rate, Tom Bosley tells us about unfair conditions in New York City.
Girls, that's not the way to win. You'd think that a human heart would break at such a display as this. But warm-hearted men with money at stake can turn into heartless, misbegotten misers. Now a strike isn't played like tic-tac-toe, and soft-spoken tactics just don't go. Ladies, you got no choice. You got to holler and howl in a most unladylike voice. Unfair.
Unfair.
Again, unfair.
Unfair.
Louder, unfair.
Unfair.
Good. Let's put a stop to the sweatshop. That's the disease we want to cure. Proudly we picket the punks who pick the pockets of the poor, hard-working poor. While we stitch, 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 someone's getting rich by the sweat of his sister's brow.
Right!
Let's fix the wagon of this gold-hungry dragon. Let's trim the fat from this sacred cow. You've got to howl at the top of your voice. Holler and howl at the top of your voice. Keep yelling foul at the top of your voice. Unfair! Good!
Let's end the evil of the age!
That's it!
Fight to the finish to win the war we're waging for a decent living wage!
Right!
Must be so and so, solely to survive, so low, so and so can cry. No! He'll cry in Hades if it's up to the ladies. Waste Makers Union Local 25. Unfair!
Now you got it!
Unfair!
That's it!
Unfair!
Let go!
Unfair!
Follow me!
From Lawrence, Massachusetts, where workers stand in front of the looms for 64 hours a week and earn under $6. When the mill gave out short pay, the workers went on strike. We must support them!
It was winter in New York as the snow began to fall, and the workman's hall had not a seat to spare. When a young man ducked inside just to warm himself was all, the night that Goldman spoke at Union Square.
Yes, this is the land of opportunity, but opportunity for men like Mr. J.B. Morgan.
She was speaking loud and fast through a haze of noise and heat, and the smell of sweat and anger in the air. The police were standing by, but the crowd was on its feet the night that Goldman spoke at Union Square.
Join us, sisters, brothers! Yes, you rich boy, you too!
And her words rang out like arrows and they pierced him.
Yes,
he felt flushed and overheated as a boy. As she filled and overwhelmed him with a fierce and sudden joy.
Sisters, brothers, stand together. Truth will bring you joy.
He was calling out her name, shouting what he did not know, and he found that he was standing on a chair. with a heart as clean and new as the freshly fallen snow, the night that Goldman spoke.
I've been waiting for you
at Union Square.
Well, somewhat from the ridiculous to the sublime, or at least the more politically engaged. That was Emma Goldman, who was circling around Fiorello LaGuardia in the early part of the 20th century, Judy Kay, from the cast album of Ragtime. Well, by the time we get to the end of the 1960s, political progressiveness is definitely on the march with a show called Hair. And what political progressive themes did Hair take on? Well, I think the question is, which ones didn't it take on? And it would be a whole 54 minutes just to tackle Hair. But let's look at two. First, from the original Broadway cast that deals with the content and quality of our air.
Sulfur dioxide, hello, carbon monoxide. The air is everywhere. Breathe deep while you sleep, breathe deep, bless you. Alcohol bloodstream, save me. Nicotine lung steam, incense is in the air. Cataclysmic ectoplasm, fallout, atomic orgasm, vapor and fume at the stone of my tomb, breathing like a sullen perfume, eating at the stone of my tomb. Welcome, sulfur dioxide, hello, carbon monoxide. The air is everywhere. Breathe deep while you sleep. Breathe deep, 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 deep.
Well, that was from the most recent Broadway revival of Hair. That's 3500, a song from Hair about the Vietnam War, which of course it had to tackle in the course of its peregrinations about progressive themes. This is Larry Maslon, your host for Broadway to Main Street, and today it's Broadway on the March, Broadway and its social conscience over the decades. Well, as I said earlier, when we listened to Golden Boy in South Pacific, the idea of race relations in America is something that the Broadway musical has always tackled. Caroline or Change, Tony Kushner and Janine Tesori's musical, has just been revived at Studio 54 via The Roundabout, and it reminds us what an astonishing document of the early 1960s it is. Here is Tanya Pinkins from the original production.
President Caroline Thibodeau.
Right here, right here.
What are you gonna do now that President Kennedy's dead? Now you're the only president in the United States.
Gonna pass me a law that night last longer. Gonna pass me a law, Larry, come home from Vietnam, wherever that is. Gonna pass me a law, no woman can be my age and not know enough to read a map. Gonna pass me a law that my heathen daughter don't never get hurt, nor learn how to mind me, nor learn how to mind nobody except herself. Gonna pass me a law, say Nat King Cole gotta come over my house. Come over my house, come over every night and stroke my soul.
Wish me night.
That's not my job.
How come you're so sad and angry all the time?
That ain't your business, it just ain't your business. You's a nosy child. How come you like me? I ain't never nice to you. There's a light in the darkness, though the night is black as my skin. There's a light burning bright, showing me the way, but I know where I've been. There's a cry in the distance. It's a voice that comes from deep within. There's a cry asking why. I pray the answer's up ahead. 'Cause I know where I've been. There's a road we've been traveling for so many on the way, but the riches will be plenty, worth the price we had to pay. There's a struggle that we have yet to win, and there's pride in my heart, 'cause I know where I'm going, yeah.
That was the full-throated passion of Jennifer Hudson from the television version of Hairspray Live, another song about social progress in the 1960s among the races. We get to sometimes look at social progress or these ideas when they happened, like Pins and Needles, and sometimes looking backwards fondly. This is Flora the Red Menace, Kander and Ebb's first Broadway musical. And here is a wonderful revival, I think, from the late 1980s, early 90s, and the one, the only Vianne Cox to take on the progressive spirit of the 1930s with Unafraid.
Members of the faculty, fellow graduates, and honored guests, we stand on the threshold of the future. We, the youth of the nation, have a responsibility, a mission. And I would like to say, in the words of our great president, we have nothing to fear. We will not be afraid. Eyes unclouded and clear, we will join the great parade. Proudly marching along toward a sunnier day, fierce, determined and strong, ever ready come what may. Bruised and battered, but we will be unbound. Clouds may gather and swarm, yet this promise is made. We will weather the storm uniformly unafraid. Will you all rise and take this oath with me? I will give you the words. We have nothing to fear. We will not be afraid. Eyes unclouded and clear, we will join the great parade. Proudly marching along toward a sunnier day, fierce, determined and strong, ever ready come what may. Bruised and battered, but we will be unbound. Clouds may gather and swarm, yet this promise is made. We will weather the storm uniformly unafraid, unconditionally unafraid.
I guess I have a movie too, Molina.
I hope you do, my friend.
Only, there's no part in it for your Aurora. There's no singing, no dancing, no pretty costumes. Just the truth.
It was made out of mud and pieces of tin and boxes nailed together. Cardboard boxes, my castle, my home. And we slept on the floor, my sister and I, with gunny sacks for our pillows, coughing, hungry, cozy,
My home. And every Sunday on our knees, we would thank the Lord for his bountiful blessings.
And our mother poured soup into little cracked bowls as she spoke of something better. Beefsteak, maybe someday. My home. And that lady had eyes that were empty and cold at the ripe old age of 30. death came. Welcome to my home. And still that Sunday on our knees, how we thank the Lord for his bountiful blessings. And my sister and I swore the day that we left there'd be no more children like us. In the filth there, in the heat there, in the smell there, and no more Sundays on our knees would we thank the Lord for his bountiful blessings. So we came to the city and begged for food. Then one April day we heard it, thunder rumbling, one man speaking, thousands singing. Someday we'll be free. I promise you we'll be free, if not tomorrow, then the day after that. And the candles in our hand will illuminate this land, if not tomorrow, then the day after that. And the world that gives us pain, that fills our lives with fear, on the day after that will disappear. And the war we fought to win, I promise you we will win, if not tomorrow, then the day after that, or the day after that.
Someday we'll be free, I promise you we'll be free, if not tomorrow.
If not tomorrow,
then the day after that,
or the day after that.
And the candles in our hand will illuminate this land, if not tomorrow.
If not tomorrow,
then the day after that,
or the day after that.
And the world that gives us pain, that fills our lives with fear, on the day after that will disappear.
Will disappear. Will disappear. And the war we fought to win, I promise you we will win, if not tomorrow, then the day after that, or 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 the day after that.
Another rousing Kander and Ebb anthem. That is from Kiss of the Spider Woman, and that's Brian Stokes Mitchell, who actually took over the role on Broadway, one of the few cast albums to feature replacements. Doesn't happen very often, but you can see the passion of Kander and Ebb. And it reminds me that, Cabaret had Tomorrow Belongs to Me, but this is in the opposite end with The Day After That. Well, we come to Les Misérables, which took banner waving to an entirely new level. Here is Michael Maguire from the Broadway cast.
Do you hear the people singing the song of angry men? It is the music of a people who will not be slaves again. When the beating of your heart echoes the beating of the drums, there is a life about to start when tomorrow comes. Will you join in our crusade? Who will be strong and stand with me? Beyond the barricade, is there a world you long to see?
Then join in the fight that will give you the right to be free.
Do you hear the people singing the song of angry men? It is the music of a people who will not be slaves again. When the beating of your heart echoes the beating of the drums,
can give so that our banner may advance. Some will fall and some will live. Will you stand up and take your chance? The blood of the martyrs will water the meadows of France. Do you hear the people sing, singing the song of angry men? It is the music of a people who will not be slaves again. When the beating of your heart echoes the beating of the drums, there is a light about to start when tomorrow comes.
Run, freedom, run. Freedom, run away. My friend, you have to run, 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 run. Freedom, run away. That freedom sun will shine someday. Till then, you better run, 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 run. Freedom, run away.
I'm frightened.
Oh, well, you should be. Freedom is scary. It's a blast of cool wind that burns your face to wake you up.
Literally?
Yes. There's a trickle of sweat.
There's a trickle of sweat.
Dripping in your ear.
Dripping in your ear.
Still, you gotta run, 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 run. Freedom, run away.
Run away.
Now, don't you fret. And never fear. Your freedom's a one. Freedom, run away. There's a great big cloud bell on your tail.
Run, freedom, run.
And he's put his henchmen on your trail.
Run, freedom, run.
Whoa, I'm simply laying out the back for you. Great big cloud bells making tracks for you. Ain't no time to relax for you. Run, freedom, run. Run, freedom, run.
Run, freedom, run. Run, freedom, run.
Freedom, run away.
Freedom, run away. Freedom, run away. My friends, you have to run, 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 run. Freedom, run away. Freedom, run away. Freedom, run away. Freedom, run away. That freedom sun will shine someday.
3, 4.
Till then you better run, run, freedom, run, better run away.
Run, freedom, run. Run away. My friends, you have to run, 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 freedom, run away. That freedom soul will shine someday. Then you better run, run. Hallelujah.
Freedom, run.
With the wind in your hair, you run to freedom's glory.
Freedom, sun.
That freedom sun will shine all of your freedom story. I said freedom. I said freedom. I said freedom. Freedom, run away.
Well, what would the Broadway musical be if it didn't make fun of progressive politics and marching forward to a utopian future? That, of course, is from Urinetown, the musical. Well, I hope you enjoyed our 54 minutes of Broadway on the March, a look at how Broadway tackles serious themes. It looks like there's no end in sight for that, certainly as the world gets more complex. But as we close out, let us turn to the granddaddy of political musicals. That's Mark Blitzstein's The Cradle Will Rock. And here is the finale from the film, which probably didn't have all those huge orchestrations in the 1937 opening night production. But what the hey, it is very passionate and takes us along. And we hope that Broadway and you will go whichever way the wind blows.
Upon the topmost bough of yonder tree now, with nails in their hides, the moles in their lap, ease and wise, a swinging rock behind
Well, where has the time all gone to? This is Larry Maslon here at Broadway to Main Street. Let's catch up next Sunday at 3.
There's so much more embracing still to be done, but time is racing.